Our fourth story is called Mr. Men Making Music, written by the same artists. When Mr. Funny announced that he was starting a band, everyone was very excited. They began practicing for the audition at the end of the week. Some of the Mr. Men were very good at playing music. Little Miss Twins played the double bass. Mr. Busy played the flute with his busy fingers. And Mr. Noisy played the trumpet, loudly, all week long. You see, you need practice to learn to play a musical instrument. Lots of practice. And then more practice. Miss Trouble always wanted to play in the band. However, the trouble with Miss Trouble was that she was not the sort of person who could not be bothered learning to play an instrument properly. Practicing was far too much trouble for her. She tried the piano, plonk, 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 and gave up. She tried the violin, screech, 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 and gave up. And she tried the French horn, pop, 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 and gave up. She could not play it in time or in tune, but Miss Trouble was determined to be chosen to play in the band. That week, everybody else continued to practice for the audition. Mr. Nosy, practiced the cymbals, painfully. Mr. Quiet practiced the piccolo, quietly. Mr. Tickle practiced the trombone, in a tangle. And Mr. Nonsense practiced the tuba, in the bath. And Miss Trouble did not practice at all. Instead, she had a very busy night the night before Mr. Funny's audition. A very busy night indeed. A busy night for making trouble. Uh-oh. First to audition the next day was Mr. Cool with his saxophone. He settled himself on the stage. Mr. Funny settled himself in anticipation. Mr. Cool took a deep breath. He blew into his saxophone, and a shower of water blew out of the saxophone into the air like a fountain. Someone had filled his saxophone with water. Mr. Funny smiled. Now I am sure you can guess who that someone was. And so the auditions continued. Each new contestant met with a new disaster. Like Miss Trouble had replaced the skin on Miss Bossy's drum with paper. Mr. Funny chuckled. And she had swapped the strings on Miss Fun's guitar with spaghetti. Mr. Funny laughed. And then it was Miss Trouble's turn. She felt very confident. Nobody else had managed to play a note. It did not matter how badly she played. She bound to get into the band. She stood in front of her xylophone, raised her arms and played. Plink, plonk, bang, bang, plink, plonk. It was every bit as bad as you might imagine. That was very funny, laughed Mr. Funny. I wasn't sure what sort of band this was going to be, but now I know. It was going to be a funny band, and you will all be in it. And it was a very funny band. What instrument do you think Mr. Funny played? I'll give you a few seconds to guess. Okay, let's find out what he had played. You'll laugh at this, but he played the rubber band. Think about it. The band and add the rubber band. Time for our final story.